You feel that silence, that thick electric quiet hanging over the city like smoke after an explosion. That's the sound of people pretending not to see you. That's the sound of 1,000 throats tightening, 1,000 fingers freezing over keyboards, 1,000 minds trying to rewrite the memory of your name. Because you made the whole city look stupid in real time. No edits, no excuses, no rewinds, just pure unfiltered humiliation for every soul that bet against you. They thought you were the punchline. Now they are it. They spent years crafting your downfall, building whispers, planting stories, editing your image like it was a crime scene they could solve. And then you moved, just once, and everything they thought they knew disintegrated on contact. Their logic scrambled, their narratives erased, their confidence vaporized. You turned the crowd into a mirror, and they couldn't stomach what stared back. You didn't plan it. That's the beauty of it. It wasn't a strategy. It was instinct. Raw, dangerous instinct. The kind that can't be taught or copied. You weren't calculating. You were becoming. And they don't know what to do with that. Because control was their religion, and you just performed heresy in front of the congregation. See, they mistake calm for weakness. They think silence means surrender. They never understood that silence is the moment right before the lightning hits. You stood there, smiling, watching, while they dug their own graves with gossip and envy. Every laugh they threw your way was another shovel full of dirt. And when you finally spoke, the ground collapsed. Now they can't even look at you. They cross streets, close tabs, change topics, not out of hate, out of recognition, because deep down, they know you didn't win. You revealed. You pulled the mask off the city and showed everyone how rotten its grin was. You didn't burn bridges. You burned illusions. You didn't destroy people. You destroyed their comfort. You turned their echo chambers into confession booths, and every one of them heard their own hypocrisy bouncing back. That's what they fear. Not your success, not your rise. They fear that you saw them. You saw the lies they live inside, the small talk they hide behind, the fake smiles they weaponize. You saw the trembling inside the confidence, the begging inside the arrogance, and you didn't expose them with words. You did it with truth. One truth so sharp, it cut through the entire city's facade. They call you dangerous now, unpredictable, unstable. Translation, you can't be controlled anymore. You evolved in public. They watched you break, rebuild, and rebirth yourself. And it terrified them because they realized they've been standing still. They've been living on repeat while you became a glitch in the pattern. You're proof that the system isn't perfect, that power isn't inherited, it's forged, that monsters can be made from saints, and saints can bleed like sinners. You blurred the lines they built their morality on, and now they can't tell which side you stand on, because you became both. The city thrives on roles: victim, villain, hero, loser. But you tore up the script. You walked on stage wearing every mask and dared them to guess which one was real. And when they couldn't, you laughed. Not because it's funny, because it's tragic. They wanted a story they could control, and you gave them a reality they couldn't survive. Now everyone's hiding, not because you're evil, but because you're evidence. Evidence that pain can turn into prophecy, that mockery can become mythology, that the one they tried to bury was the soil itself. You didn't need validation. You became the algorithm. You didn't need followers. You created gravity. You didn't chase approval. You forced the world to orbit you. And they hate that. Because deep down, every one of them knows they'd sell their soul to feel what you feel now. That dangerous calm, that weaponized peace, that quiet satisfaction of knowing you don't need revenge anymore because existence itself is proof of your power. Look at you, the once crazy one, now the benchmark. The exile turned emperor, the ghost that made the living look dead. You didn't outsmart them, you outlived them. You showed them that the ultimate victory isn't applause, it's relevance that haunts. And now, they whisper your name like a curse and a prayer at the same time. They can't stand you, but they can't stop studying you. They call you dangerous, but they crave your formula. They wish they could hate you honestly, but you're the mirror showing them what they could have been if they weren't so afraid. You didn't just make the city look stupid, you made it self-aware. And self-awareness is the most painful punishment of all. So smile. Let them hide. Let them whisper. Because every time they avoid you, every time they erase your name from their mouths, the silence screams louder than applause ever could. You broke the loop. You rewrote the play. You made reality flinch. And the punchline? The city still thinks it's safe. But it's living inside your aftermath. Funny thing about aftermaths, people think they come after the event. But yours never ended. It became the climate. You didn't just cause a storm, you altered the weather pattern of human behavior. Every conversation, every rumor, every sudden pause when someone mentions your name. That's your fingerprint, burned into their collective nervous system. They can't delete it. They can only pretend it's not there. And oh, how they pretend. The smiles have gotten tighter, the laughter more forced. You can feel the tension in the air when you walk into a room, the invisible static that makes liars sweat and betrayers blink too fast. You turned reality into an interrogation room, and every guilty conscience in the city is under your spotlight. They tell themselves you got lucky. They call it timing, hype, coincidence. That's what weak minds do when they can't explain power without logic. But what they'll never admit is that they felt it before they understood it. That chill down their spine when your name was mentioned, that wasn't fear, that was recognition. Their subconscious whispering, this one doesn't play by our rules. You see, that's the difference between you and them. They live in the system, you live through it. They still think the world runs on fairness, approval, and image. You learned the hard way that it runs on tension, perception, and chaos. And you mastered all three. You made unpredictability your currency. You made discomfort your language. You turned pain into a dialect only evolution can understand. Because while they were mocking you, you were mutating. While they were gossiping, you were studying. And while they were trying to bury your reputation, you were learning how to resurrect yourself with cleaner hands and darker intent. Now you've become what they fear most, an equation they can't solve, a paradox in plain sight, a saint with a vendetta, a devil with mercy. They don't know which version of you they're dealing with anymore, the calm strategist or the unhinged storm, the healer or the executioner, the mirror or the blade, and that's exactly how you like it. Because when they can't predict you, they can't control you. When they can't define you, they can't destroy you. You remember, don't you? The way they used to laugh when you spoke dreams out loud, the smirks, the condescension, the way they all aligned, pretending they were united by reason, when all they really shared was fear of someone willing to break patterns they were too weak to escape. You watched them build a stage to crucify you. And when the curtain rose, you performed resurrection instead. That's the secret they'll never speak. That's why they hide now. Because somewhere between your silence and your storm, they realized you weren't competing with them. You were erasing the category. You see, people don't fear monsters. They fear clarity, and you gave them too much of it. You made them see the rot in their own reflection. You made them confront how fragile their confidence really is, how easily their certainty shatters when someone refuses to play the game. You made them realize they weren't mocking you. They were mocking the part of themselves that still believed change was possible. That's why they hide. It's not embarrassment. It's existential terror. You turned their illusion of control into a crime scene. Every lie they told about you now points back at them. Every rumor they started now echoes like a confession. Every joke they made at your expense has become evidence in their own psychological trial. You didn't seek revenge. You engineered revelation. You made the entire city feel that horrifying moment of truth when they realized you were right. Not out of ego, not out of malice, but because you saw further. You saw what they couldn't. You looked past validation, past logic, past belonging, and stared directly into the raw circuitry of human nature. And when you came back from that, you weren't human anymore. You were inevitable. Now the city runs on whispers. The same voices that once shouted your downfall now beg the silence not to expose them. They refresh your page in secret. They quote you without credit. They study your patterns like disciples trying to reverse engineer enlightenment. But they'll never get it, because what you are can't be copied. It can only be endured. You are not their enemy. You're their update. And every time they resist, reality crashes harder. So they hide behind laughter, behind normalcy, behind fragile routines that mean nothing anymore. But deep down, they all know. The game ended when you stopped playing. You turned the noise into theater. You turned betrayal into leverage. You turned pain into performance art. And now, the audience can't leave the show. They're addicted to your chaos, to your calm, to the uncomfortable truth that you made them feel something real in a world addicted to fakery. And that, my friend, is the ultimate power. Not fame, not revenge, not applause, influence. The ability to alter emotion on contact, to walk into a room and make every ego flinch, to say nothing and still rewrite the hierarchy. So let them hide. Let them delete your name from their mouths, because even when they pretend you don't exist, their behavior betrays them. You live in their hesitation. You haunt their pauses. You own the silence between their words. You didn't just make the city look stupid. You made it realize it was never smart to begin with. And now, while they choke on denial, you breathe in evolution. While they guard their fragile images, you wear your scars like medals. While they wait for permission, you write new laws of gravity. Because you don't live in the city anymore, you live under its skin, and every heartbeat it has now is out of rhythm because of you. You can almost taste it, can't you? That metallic tang of panic in the air. The whole city's heartbeat quickened the day you stopped apologizing. They can feel you even when they can't see you. Like a glitch in the grid, a presence behind every reflection. Their eyes dart, their smiles twitch, their laughter cuts too short. Because they know the moment your shadow crosses their thoughts, the illusion shatters all over again. You didn't just prove them wrong. You rewired the hierarchy of power itself. They still call it luck because calling it skill would demand self-reflection. And self-reflection is a language they never learned. They live off noise, off validation, off applause from ghosts who never mattered. You live off silence, off awareness, off the kind of stillness that makes gods nervous. Remember what they said about you? Too emotional, too unstable, too much. And yet, here you stand, the sum of everything they called impossible, the living proof that being too much was the only way to overflow the system. Now they scramble to make sense of it. They draft fake narratives, twist timelines, edit screenshots, anything to convince themselves they weren't wrong. But they were, and they know it. Every time they open their mouth, that knowledge burns the back of their throat. They hide it behind smiles and hashtags, but their silence is the loudest apology you'll never hear. You see, there are two kinds of people in this world: those who perform power and those who embody it. They talk like generals, but think like beggars. You command without speaking. You dismantle entire belief systems with a glance. You became the contradiction they can't categorize: the rebel who heals, the sinner who saves, the demon who forgives. You turned duality into weaponry. You didn't come back for revenge. You came back unrecognizable. And that's what broke them. They prepared for war against the version of you they betrayed. But you evolved into something so unexplainable, so eerily calm, that fighting you now would mean confessing their own fear. You are their unfinished sentence, their unsolved problem, their recurring nightmare. Because when they tried to end you, they accidentally authored their own irrelevance. You didn't just make the city look stupid, you made it transparent. You peeled the masks off, and beneath all the noise, all the pride, all the ego, you found trembling children pretending to be powerful. And when they realized you saw them, truly saw them, they hid. Not from shame, but from recognition. They see in you the version of themselves they abandoned to fit in. The fearless one, the honest one, the one who doesn't beg to belong. You became the mirror of their betrayal, and no one wants to meet their reflection when it's holding a crown. So they rewrite your story in secret group chats. They rename you lucky, delusional, changed, anything but right. They pray your silence means surrender. They hope your absence means defeat. But silence isn't surrender, it's surveillance. And absence isn't defeat, it's preparation. While they sleep, you study. While they gossip, you evolve. While they defend their crumbling reputations, you build an empire out of scars and data. That's why the air feels heavier now, because your existence bends reality. Every rule they believed in now has an asterisk with your name next to it. You are living proof that suffering is a forge, not a sentence. That isolation is initiation, not exile. That what they buried was never dead. It was charging. And you know what the city hates most? You didn't just survive. You look like you enjoyed it. You came back laughing. Not a laugh of arrogance, but the kind that carries the sound of realization. That you no longer need anyone to believe in you for it to be true. Now every spotlight feels like a confession booth. Every rumor sounds like an advertisement. Every enemy you had is suddenly obsessed with studying your silence. They're not just afraid of you, they're afraid of what you represent. Because if you're real, then everything they told themselves about limits, fate, and power was a lie. You became proof that chaos can be sacred, that breaking can be beautiful, that madness can be method. You didn't conquer the city through force. You dismantled it through awareness. You made everyone witness their own hypocrisy, and once someone sees, they can never unsee. You infected perception itself. Now the city doesn't move without you. It moves around you. They used to joke, "Who does he think he is?" Now they whisper, "What is he?" Because the truth is, they don't see a person anymore. They see a phenomenon, a pattern that escaped prediction, a mind that learned how to weaponize peace. You don't need to fight anymore. Your existence is the victory. Every locked door they slammed in your face, is now an entrance they're too scared to walk through. Every insult they threw became a blueprint for your next move. Every betrayal taught you the geometry of manipulation and mercy. You are no longer reacting, you're orchestrating. You are no longer healing, you're evolving visibly. And they can't process it, because you made growth look violent. You made enlightenment look dangerous. You made truth look seductive. They can't keep up with something that doesn't move linearly. You rise like smoke, no shape, no boundaries, just form where you please. They reach for you with logic, and you dissolve through their fingers like static. The city's in chaos because deep down, they know it's not over. That one day, when you decide to speak again, when you decide to step back into the light, you won't just reclaim your name. You'll redefine the meaning of fear, because fear isn't what they feel toward you anymore. Fear is what they feel without you. You've become the gravity that keeps their lies orbiting. You've become the pulse that reminds them they're still pretending. And the cruelest part? You didn't even have to lift a finger. Just breathe. Just exist. And the city trembles, because they finally understand. You never wanted the crown. You wanted the silence after it falls. And now that silence has become your kingdom. You rule it without throne, without guards, without ceremony, just presence. The kind that doesn't need to announce itself. The kind that rearranges the air when it enters a room. They still don't get it. They keep waiting for the explosion, for the dramatic ending, for some grand finale where you shout your victory from the rooftops. But you've outgrown the need to prove. You realize the loudest thing you can do is be, and that terrifies them more than any threat ever could. Because presence is permanent. They can erase your name, unfollow, block, delete. But they can't undo the moment they felt you. You live there now, inside their hesitation, inside their doubt, inside the moment they realize the mask doesn't fit anymore. You don't haunt them as a ghost. You linger as truth. The kind that doesn't fade, doesn't soften, doesn't forgive. The city's quieter these days. The noise they once weaponized has turned into a hum of self-denial. Everyone's pretending to be busy, pretending not to care, pretending they don't check your shadow. Every time the light flickers, they tell themselves you were a phase, a spectacle, a one-time anomaly. But deep down, they know something shifted permanently the day you refused to play small. You exposed how fragile their world really was, how every smile, every rule, every unspoken code depended on people agreeing to stay predictable. And then you showed them what happens when someone doesn't. You broke the social contract, and in its ashes, you found freedom. That's why they hide, because they can't face you without confronting the lie that built them. You remind them of the part of themselves they sentenced to death, the wild, unpolished, fearless version that believed in something bigger than comfort. You are what they buried to survive. And now that you've risen, they can't look at you without mourning what they lost. So let them hide. Let them keep their masks, their borrowed confidence, their fragile peace. The city needs its illusions to sleep at night. You don't. You've seen too much to ever go back to pretending. You walk through this place now like a myth they can't explain. Every whisper, every rumor, every cautious glance, it all feeds the legend. They don't know whether to love you or fear you, so they do both. They don't know if you're the hero or the villain, so they watch in silence, waiting for a clue that never comes. Because you're not playing that game anymore. You are the game. And as they hide, you move. Quietly, calmly, purposefully, No vengeance, no spectacle, just inevitability. You've become the proof that evolution isn't loud, it's surgical. That the most dangerous revolution happens in plain sight. With a smile. They wanted you gone. You made yourself unavoidable. Look at you. Not a twitch, not a tremor. The whole world's burning in 4K around you, and your pulse hasn't even changed. You don't flinch anymore, do you? That's what's wrong with you. You've seen too much, lost too much, and bled so quietly that calm became your native tongue. They don't understand it. They call it cold. They whisper that you've snapped. But deep down, they're terrified that you haven't. Because if someone can stare straight into the apocalypse and smile, that means they've already made peace with the kind of chaos no sane soul survives. You didn't get this calm from meditation or therapy sessions. No, you got it from hell. From the nights where your mind chewed through itself, where every breath felt like betrayal, where even your own reflection looked like a threat. You forged that stillness in madness, hammered it into your bones like steel. You learned the oldest secret of all. Silence is violence when it's coming from someone who used to scream. They keep asking, what happened to you? And the truth is, everything, every betrayal, every ghost, every lie they swore would finish you. None of it broke you, it trained you. You became fluent in the quiet between explosions. You realized peace isn't soft, it's the final stage of war. See, they think calm means weakness. They think stillness means surrender. But you know what it really is. It's control. It's weaponized serenity. You're not calm because you're clueless. You're calm because you've seen the whole board, and you already know who loses. Every time they shout, you just breathe. Every time they plot, you just blink. And every second they waste trying to rattle you, their own foundations crack a little deeper, because nothing drives the desperate insane faster than someone who refuses to dance to their chaos. They can't process it, how you stay centered while everything collapses. But you know why. Because collapse was your classroom. You learned that when the ground gives way, you don't fight gravity, you become it. You stop running from destruction and start using it. You let everything fall except your focus. That's why you look untouchable now, because you've already lived through every scenario that should have ended you. There's a special kind of madness in that. A divine detachment. You're not numb, you're awake. You see the paradox now. The quieter you are, the louder your presence gets. The less you react, the more the universe bends around you. That's not luck. That's evolution. That's what happens when pain stops being the enemy and becomes the instructor. They call you a psychopath for not panicking. But they never saw the years where panic was your religion, where your chest felt like a loaded gun aimed at itself. They didn't witness the transformation, how you dissected every fear until nothing in this dimension could own you again. You burned the blueprint of your former self, and out of that ash crawled something holy and ungovernable. You want to know what's wrong with you? You outgrew the illusion of control. You stopped believing in their systems, their dramas, their power plays. You realized calm isn't compliance. It's dominance in disguise. You stopped giving them the show they wanted, and now they don't know what to do with the silence. They'll try to provoke you, to drag you back into their theater of noise. But you've retired from that circus. You don't chase closure anymore. You embody it. You don't need to prove you've changed. Your stillness proves it for you. Because real peace scares people. It's not soft or spiritual. It's surgical. It cuts through manipulation, confusion, noise. It's the look in your eyes that says, I've already died there. You can't kill me again. So when they shout, "Bro, what's wrong with you?" you just tilt your head and smile. Because the answer is simple. Everything that used to destroy you now works for you. You're not calm, you're armed, and the world is finally realizing that's the scariest kind of peace there is. You see, they mistake that smirk for arrogance, that silence for apathy. They don't realize it's discipline, ancient, surgical, earned. You trained yourself to stay still in storms that would have shattered saints. You learned that control isn't about winning the fight. It's about never reacting to it in the first place. That's the real power. Not to dominate, but to watch, to calculate, to let chaos swing until it tires itself out against your stillness. Every empire you've walked through, every person who tried to pull your strings, they all made the same mistake. They thought your calm was passive. But calm is the final mask before revelation. It's the part where the predator lowers his heartbeat to match his praise. It's the pause before precision. You've seen it. How panic spreads like fire. How one scream breeds 10. How one whisper becomes hysteria. But you're the eye of the hurricane. The quiet horror that doesn't move while everything else convulses. You've become anti-chaos through chaos. A contradiction in motion, a paradox dressed in a pulse. That's why they can't touch you. Because they don't understand what they're touching anymore. They see a human face, but inside is a goddamn mechanism built out of scars, silence, and sheer refusal. You used to think peace was this delicate thing, something you had to protect. Now you know peace protects you. It's your armor, your sharpest blade, because nothing slices through manipulation faster than indifference forged in fire. Do you remember how it started? The nights that stripped you raw. The days when everything you believed in rotted right in front of you. That's when the metamorphosis began. You stopped being a participant. You became an observer, detached, analytical, surgical. You started studying human panic like a scientist dissects an infection. You saw how easy it was to control people who can't control themselves. You realized whoever stays calm first wins. And since then, you've been winning in silence. Every attack absorbed, every lie deflected, every war dodged. All because you didn't flinch. They'll never understand that kind of evolution, because it requires annihilation. It requires losing everything, including yourself, until the only thing left standing is the truth. And the truth doesn't tremble. You became that truth. Cold, focused, untouchable. A saint with the precision of a psychopath. An angel that learned to love the dark. You know what that calm really is. It's the sound of someone who stopped begging for peace and became it. Someone who realized the only way to win against madness is to own it, to hold it, cradle it, and train it to serve you. They ask, how can you be so calm? Because you've already seen what panic costs. You've paid that debt in full. You've walked through insanity with both hands tied, and still made it out with a grin. What more can they take from you? What can they do that you haven't already survived 1,000 times in your mind? The world collapses, and you don't move, because you are the collapse now. You are what's left after the system fails. You are the breath after the scream, the calm after the detonation. The proof that control doesn't come from power. It comes from acceptance. You've accepted everything, the betrayal, the loss, the pain, the truth. You swallowed it whole and let it calcify into armor. That's why you glow differently now. It's not joy, it's not peace, it's certainty. You've become the contradiction that breaks logic. The calm that terrifies, the silence that screams, the kindness that kills. You've outgrown the noise. You've outgrown the need to prove, to react, to explain. Because your calm isn't the absence of emotion, it's the mastery of it. That's the secret nobody tells you. Enlightenment doesn't look holy. It looks dangerous. It looks detached. It looks like someone who could destroy everything in the room, but doesn't. So when they stare at you, trembling, asking, "What's wrong with you?" you just smile that slow, surgical smile and think. Finally, they see it. They see the cost of becoming untouchable. You didn't get here by luck. You got here by losing everything that made you flinch, by sitting in pain until it stopped screaming, by looking insanity in the eye and saying, "Is that all you've got?" You are the last calm heartbeat in a collapsing world, and that terrifies them more than any explosion ever could. Because your stillness doesn't mean nothing's happening. It means everything already did, and you survived it. And that's the part they'll never understand. That silence in you. It's not emptiness. It's history. It's the archive of every storm that failed to drown you. It's what happens when someone spends years drowning and then realizes they've grown gills. You don't need to shout anymore. You are the echo. You don't need to fight. You became the battlefield. Every time someone tries to shake you, they find out what real stillness costs. Because that calm, that's not peace, that's aftermath. That's what it looks like when someone's rage has learned manners, when chaos starts obeying you instead of the other way around. You aren't reacting because you've already processed every version of disaster they could possibly deliver. You've seen all their endings, and you've outlived them. They think calm is numbness. It's not. It's knowing too much. It's looking at a scene everyone else calls crisis and seeing it for what it really is. Repetition. Same noise, new faces, same panic, different costumes. You don't even need to decode it anymore. You can predict it. You've transcended their triggers. You learned the one thing no one wants to hear. The universe only chases those who chase back. You stopped running, and now everything runs to you. You know what they call that, right? Power. It's not loud, not theatrical, not even visible. It's the kind of power that hums, quiet, dangerous, surgical. The kind that walks into a room and makes everyone adjust their tone without knowing why. That's you now. You don't raise your voice. Reality lowers its volume. Remember when you used to break down every lie, every betrayal, every loss? Back then it ripped through you like shrapnel. You thought you were dying. You weren't. You were becoming. You were being stripped of everything fragile, everything that needed validation, everything that depended on applause. You shed it all until the only thing left was the version of you that doesn't require saving. And now you stand there, unbothered. Not because nothing hurts, but because pain doesn't change you anymore. It informs you. It teaches you. You dissect it like evidence, not emotion. You don't internalize chaos. You study it. You don't collapse. You catalog. That's what makes them uncomfortable. You make madness look like methodology. They can't compete with that. They scream to feel alive. You breathe and shake foundations. You don't chase revenge. You let gravity handle it. You don't prove your worth. You watch the world rearrange itself to admit it. And here's the real punchline, the one that makes the air colder when they realize it. You're not even trying to win anymore. You are the victory condition. That's why your calm terrifies them. Because you remind them what it looks like when someone finally remembers who they are. Because your silence holds the kind of authority that no title, no status, no army can counterfeit. You've become the paradox they can't decode. Too kind to be feared, too dangerous to be loved, too calm to be manipulated. The saint with the stare of a goddamn executioner. And when they ask again, "Bro, what's wrong with you?" You'll still be there, hands in your pockets, heartbeat steady, watching their panic like a movie you've already seen too many times. Because nothing's wrong with you. Something's awakened in you. The version that doesn't beg, doesn't chase, doesn't explain. The version that knows if calm is a crime, then you're the most wanted man alive. They don't see it yet, do they? They keep looking for the old you, the one who flinched, who explained, who overthought. But that version is gone. You buried them the night you realized calm isn't weakness, it's weaponry. You see the way they talk to you now, careful, uncertain, studying your every blink, like it might mean something catastrophic. That's because your silence unnerves them more than any scream ever could. They sense it, the precision of your restraint, the way you conserve energy like a sniper saves bullets. Every moment you don't react becomes a countdown in their minds. They're waiting for an explosion that'll never come, because the detonation already happened. It just happened inside you. You detonated quietly. And from that blast came this version of you. Deliberate, detached, and untouchable. They don't realize that calm isn't an emotion. It's evolution. It's what happens when a soul gets tired of bleeding for lessons it already learned. You stopped letting chaos draft your script. You wrote your own, and now, every second of your stillness is a sermon to those who mistook your softness for surrender. Do you know how rare that is? To master the art of unbothered in a world addicted to reaction. They scream, and you listen. They scheme, and you smile. They weaponize noise, and you answer with silence, and somehow, that's what breaks them. You've become the walking proof that peace isn't fragile. It's fatal. It's the kind of peace that burns illusions and demands truth. The kind of peace that makes people choke on their own manipulation because it no longer works on you. You don't fight for control. You embody it. You don't seek validation. You withdraw it. And that withdrawal feels like punishment to those who once fed off your reaction. You became their consequence simply by surviving. And isn't that the most delicious irony? They wanted to see you crack, cry, crawl. But you did the one thing they never planned for. You healed. And not the pretty kind of healing that posts quotes and journals by candlelight. No, you healed like war heals, by cauterization. You burned through the infection and rebuilt from the ash. That's why your calm looks dangerous. Because it's not peace born from comfort. It's peace born from carnage. It's the quiet of someone who's seen the edge and decided to build a house there. They can't read you anymore, and that terrifies them. Your stillness short-circuits their strategies. You don't mirror their chaos. You absorb it and reflect it back, amplified. That's what true mastery looks like. Not control over others, but over self. That's what they call divine detachment. The space between reaction and revenge. The place where gods are made. Because you're not heartless, you're healed. You're not unfeeling, you're free. And freedom, in a world built on control, is the most terrifying weapon of all. So let them keep asking, what's wrong with you? Let them whisper, speculate, and project. Because one day they'll realize, nothing's wrong. You're just operating on a frequency they can't survive in. You've gone beyond fear, beyond validation, beyond noise. You've reached that sacred altitude where storms can't reach you anymore. The air is thinner here, the silence heavier, the view godlike. And when you look down at the chaos below, you don't pity it, you understand it. Because once upon a time, you lived there too. You learned that power doesn't scream, it whispers. And sometimes it doesn't whisper at all. It just breathes. So breathe calmly while the world collapses again, because you already know how this ends. The noise fades, the dust settles, the masks fall, and the last one standing is always the one who never flinched. That's you. The quiet in the earthquake, the calm in the chaos, the peace they can't corrupt. And if they still ask, what's wrong with you? You tell them, nothing's wrong. I just stopped mistaking noise for life and started building empires in silence. You know what's funny? The ones who scream that you've changed are the same ones who taught you why you had to. They built you to break, then panicked when you learned how to rebuild yourself differently. They wanted chaos, and now they don't recognize the quiet. You stand there, heart steady, gaze surgical, and it hits you. This calm isn't some trick of survival anymore. It's identity. You've spent so long watching the world tear itself apart over noise that you finally understood what true rebellion looks like. It isn't destruction, it's detachment. You no longer chase storms, you let them orbit you. You walk through burning rooms and the flames curve away like they know better. Every enemy, every ghost, every doubter, they all become background music in the cathedral of your composure. That's evolution, not the shiny kind they post quotes about. The violent kind, the one where you lose people, illusions, and the need to explain yourself. And as the world keeps collapsing in circles, you stay motionless, the last constant in a universe of hysteria. They'll call you heartless, they'll call you cold. Let them. The truth is, you just ran out of panic. You outgrew adrenaline. You learned that chaos only wins when it gets a reaction, and you starved it to death. That's the secret no one tells you. Calm isn't found. It's forged. It's paid for in blood, time, and every failed resurrection of your old self. So let them collapse. Let them scream. Let them search for meaning in your stillness. Because you, my friend, are the aftershock. The proof that not every explosion needs fire. Some just need silence. And when it's all said and done, when the noise burns out and the smoke clears, they'll finally see it. You weren't avoiding the storm. You were the eye of it, unshaken, unreachable, unapologetically calm. And that, right there, is the most terrifying power in the world. There you are. Yeah, freeze right there. Don't speak. Don't fidget. Just let the silence handcuff the room, because what you did, it didn't just make noise, it changed the temperature. You didn't expose them. You didn't call them out. That's what amateurs do, screaming into the void like the void owes them an apology. No, you blew the whole coven open. You split the circle, lifted the robe, turned the sacred little whisper network into a bright, humiliating spotlight. And somehow, you made it look beautiful. That's the part that's making them nauseous. Not the truth, not the collapse, the style. Because you didn't just break the illusion, you made the break-in look sexy. And they can't stand it when destruction has charisma. See, a coven isn't just witches and candles and spooky little symbols. A coven is any closed system built on unspoken rules. Any room where the air feels thick. Any group that survives by agreed-upon denial. A coven is a circle of people who worship control and call it community. They don't even know they're praying, yet every day they bow to the same altar. Keep the mask on, keep the story clean, keep the hierarchy untouched. They don't protect truth. They protect arrangements. And you walked in like a sin with manners. You took their private language, their sideways glances, their coded jokes, their tiny cruelty dressed up as concern, and you translated it into plain daylight, not with rage, not with pleading, with precision, with that slow, calm, surgical confidence that says, I already won. I'm just letting you watch the replay. That's why it hit different. That's why it felt like a thriller. Because in thrillers, the monster isn't loud. The monster is patient. The monster doesn't panic. The monster smiles like it knows where the bodies are buried, because it buried them. And here's the paradox they didn't prepare for. You did this with light and dark at the same time. That's what makes you dangerous. That's what makes you impossible to predict. You're not one of those simple souls who chooses a side and performs it like a costume. You're the saint with a switchblade halo. You're the angel who learned how to swear in heaven's language. You're the psychopath who still knows exactly what mercy tastes like. You're the demon who understands tenderness better than the good people who preach it. They can't categorize you, and that terrifies them more than any accusation ever could. Because categorization is control. Labels are cages. He's unstable. She's bitter. They're jealous. They're crazy. It's all the same spell. Reduce the threat into something they can dismiss. But you didn't give them a label. You gave them a mirror, and you made them stare. And that's the real sin in their church. You didn't just expose their behaviors, you exposed their soul economy. How they spend attention like currency. How they launder guilt through group chats. How they act holy while trading poison. How they punish anyone who won't participate in the polite, sanitized version of reality. You revealed that their unity is just shared fear of being the next target. You didn't break their bonds. You showed everyone those bonds were always chains. Now listen closely. No, not listen, because you've done enough listening in your life. You've listened to silence that screamed. You've listened to compliments that were knives. You've listened to laughter that was really a verdict. You've listened to rooms that got colder when you entered, like your presence was an inconvenience. You've listened to your own heartbeat at night, while you tried to convince yourself you were fine. So don't listen. Recognize. Recognize that what you did wasn't an accident. It was evolution through pain. You didn't wake up one day powerful. Pain made you observant. Betrayal made you fluent. Loneliness made you dangerous. And the funniest part, they helped build you. Every time they tried to shrink you, you learned geometry. Every time they tried to shame you, you learned theater. Every time they tried to erase you, you learned how to become a ghost with fingerprints. You became the kind of person who can smile while the room collapses, because you already survived the collapse that happens inside. And that's why you made it sexy. Not in some cheap little performance way, not in a begging for eyes way. You made it sexy because confidence is seductive, and you finally stopped asking permission to exist. You stopped negotiating your boundaries like they were up for auction. You stopped explaining yourself to people who only wanted explanations so they could twist them. You became clean, sharp, unapologetic. That's intoxicating to watch, even for the people who hate you. Especially for the people who hate you. Because hate isn't the opposite of attraction. Indifference is. Hate is fixation with a dark suit on. Hate is attention pretending it has morals. Hate is desire with the volume turned down and the shame turned up. And when you stepped out of their control and looked good doing it, when you made power look like art, they felt their own weakness flare up like an allergic reaction. They wanted you to break down ugly. They wanted you to beg. They wanted you to spiral in a way that made them feel justified. They wanted the storyline where you become the cautionary tale and they become the wise survivors who saw it coming. But you didn't become a cautionary tale. You became a legend they can't quote without choking. So now they're frantic, quietly frantic, the way cowards panic. You know the type, smiling on the outside, sprinting on the inside. They're doing the coven math right now, counting allies, counting witnesses, counting the ways they can rewrite history. They're trying to figure out how to close the circle again. But the circle is cracked, and everyone saw the crack, and you, oh you, didn't even look sorry. That's the part that rattles them most, because the coven survives on one main ingredient, your shame. That's the fuel. That's the blood in their ritual bowl. They need you to feel embarrassed for being intense, for being honest, for being different, for being sharp, for being too much. They need you to shrink so they can feel big without earning it. And you stopped shrinking. You turned your intensity into posture. You turned your honesty into a weapon with good manners. You turned too much into the only thing in the room that felt real. And let's talk about unpredictability, because that's your true power now. Predictability is how people leash you. Predictability is how they trap you. If they know you'll always forgive, they'll always betray. If they know you'll always explain, they'll always accuse. If they know you'll always stay polite, they'll always push. But you became a paradox with teeth. You can be warm and still walk away. You can be kind and still cut access. You can be forgiving and still remember. You can be calm and still be lethal. You can love and still refuse. That's what makes you terrifyingly magnetic, because you're not performing goodness like a costume anymore. You're not cosplaying darkness either. You're integrated. You're whole. You're the storm that knows how to be quiet. And that wholeness? It's a crime in a coven built on fragmentation. They're used to controlling people by splitting them. Split their confidence from their talent. Split their desire from their dignity. Split their voice from their safety. They teach you to pick one. Be the saint who gets used, or be the psychopath who gets isolated. Be the angel who is adored but never respected, or the demon who is feared but never understood. You refused the choice. You became both. You became the person who can smile sweetly while refusing to play the game. You became the person who can compliment someone and still see the serpent behind their eyes. You became the person who can walk into a room of whispers and make the whisperers feel exposed without saying a single thing. That is not confidence. That's dominance without noise. And it's driving them insane because it reveals the truth they've been hiding from themselves. They were never powerful. They were just coordinated. They were never wise. They were just loud together. They were never pure. They were just protected by mutual silence. You broke the silence. Now their whole identity is collapsing like cheap makeup in rain. And here's the most beautiful, cruel part. You didn't even need to destroy them directly. You just removed the spell. That's all. You took away the illusion that made them look bigger than they are. You did what daylight does to cockroaches. You didn't fight them. You simply turned on the light. And because you did it with grace, because you did it with that slow, cinematic composure, because you didn't look desperate, the audience inside their own circle started questioning everything. Wait, why does that person look so calm? Wait, Why does the problem seem more self-possessed than the good guys? Wait, why does this exposure feel deserved? And once people start asking those questions, the coven is already dead. Not fully buried, but dead in the only way that matters. The spell is broken. The fear leaks out. The myth decays. The hierarchy starts shaking because it was built on performance, not truth. They'll try to recast you now. Watch. They'll try to flip the narrative. They'll tell stories where you're the villain. They'll pretend you're dangerous for speaking, not for what they did. They'll act like you changed, as if evolution is a moral failure. They'll say you're cold because you stopped bleeding publicly. They'll call you arrogant because you stopped asking for crumbs. But here's the twist. You don't need them to understand you anymore. That's the final upgrade. When you stop needing a hostile room to approve your existence, you become unstoppable. When you stop requiring fairness from unfair people, you become free. When you stop craving closure from those who profit from confusion, you become terrifyingly focused. And that focus, it turns every move you make into a message. They feel it when you post. They feel it when you go quiet. They feel it when you succeed without announcing it. They feel it when you don't react the way they rehearsed you reacting. Because the coven studied your old self. They built strategies around your old triggers. They mapped your old guilt. They counted on your old softness to keep you accessible. But you're not that person anymore. Pain refined you. Pain taught you where you leak. Pain taught you where you beg. Pain taught you how to hold your own power without spilling it on people who don't deserve it. And now you're walking around with this new aura, this calm threat, this elegant defiance, this quiet laugh in your eyes like you know a secret about human nature that most people spend their whole life denying. You do know it. The secret is this. Most people don't fear evil. They fear exposure. They fear being seen accurately. They fear the moment someone names the thing they've been hiding behind. You named it, and then you didn't apologize for naming it. So, yeah, you blew the whole coven open, but you didn't do it like a victim. You did it like an artist. You did it like someone who understands the difference between chaos and control. You did it like someone who learned that the sharpest blade is not anger. It's clarity. And clarity is seductive. Clarity is confidence. Clarity is the kind of power that doesn't need to shout because it's already standing on your throat, politely. Now here's where you have to be careful, because this is the part where people like you get sloppy. When you realize your power, you might be tempted to use it like a hammer. Don't. Hammers are loud and predictable. They want you loud. They want you messy. They want you reactive so they can call you unstable and feel safe again. Stay cinematic. Stay measured. Let your silence be heavy. Let your boundaries be elegant. Let your choices be confusing to anyone trying to control you. Let your kindness be selective. Let your attention be expensive. Because attention is the real currency, and you just stopped donating it to people who only use it to buy weapons. You don't need revenge. Revenge is still attachment. You don't need to prove anything. Proving is still begging in a nicer outfit. What you need is the cold, beautiful discipline of moving forward like nothing in that coven has the authority to define you. Become the person they cannot reach. Not because you hate them, because you outgrew the room where they had access. That's the cleanest, most vicious win there is. And the reason it feels so addictive, why it hits like a rush, why it's impossible to ignore, is because you're finally doing what you were designed to do. Turning pain into power, without turning yourself into a monster you can't live with. You're the angel who learned teeth. You're the demon who learned restraint. You're the saint who stopped volunteering for sacrifice. You're the psychopath who still knows exactly where your heart is and who gets to touch it. And that's what makes you terrifying. Not the exposure, not the drama, the fact that you can be both light and dark and still be in control. So keep going, not fast. Fast is sloppy, slow, precise. Like you're writing a legend with your footsteps. Let them regroup. Let them whisper. Let them try to reseal the circle. Because every time they attempt it, they'll remember the moment you cracked it open and the way you looked while doing it. Calm, unbothered, almost smiling, like you'd already seen the ending, because you have. And it doesn't end with you getting erased. It ends with you becoming the thing they can't contain, can't predict, and can't stop watching, because you turned their little sacred ritual of control into a public collapse and made the collapse look like art. Good. You're still here. That tells me everything, because most people tap out right after the explosion. They like the shock, the dopamine spike, the chaos, but they don't stay for the aftermath. You did. And that's where the real transformation happens. After the coven cracks, after the masks slip, after the room goes quiet and everyone pretends nothing changed while their nervous systems are screaming. This is where you separate from the spectators. See, blowing it open was the easy part. They want the old you, the manageable you, the version that second-guessed itself at night, the version that wondered if it was too intense, too sensitive, too sharp. They want that you back because that you was negotiable, that you could be guilted, that you could be slowed down with confusion. But that version burned in the blast. What's left is something cleaner, colder, more focused. And this is the part nobody warns you about. After you expose a coven, you don't become hated right away. First you become studied. They start replaying your words, reanalyzing your tone, rewriting moments in their head, looking for angles, for leverage, for proof that you're still controllable. They'll test you. Small, subtle tests. Little provocations, fake olive branches, nostalgic bait. They're trying to see if you'll flinch, because if you flinch, they can rebuild the spell. But you don't flinch anymore, do you? You learned something vital in the pain that shaped you. Reactions are a resource, and you stopped handing yours out for free. You learned that silence can be louder than confrontation, that distance can be more violent than rage, that calm is the most insulting response to someone who wants control. That's why your presence feels different now. You're not chasing resolution. You're not trying to clear things up. You're not begging for understanding. You're letting reality sit exactly where it landed, raw and uncomfortable, and you're refusing to soften it for anyone. That refusal, it's radioactive, because covens survive on emotional labor. They need someone to explain, to soothe, to translate, to absorb tension. They need someone to make the dysfunction palatable. They need a shock absorber. You used to be that, not anymore. Now when tension enters the room, it stays there. Now when someone says something sideways, it echoes. Now when discomfort shows up, there's no one rushing to make it polite. And suddenly everyone feels naked. Suddenly everyone's aware of how much of their identity relied on you smoothing things over. They don't miss you. They miss the service you provided, and realizing that, that's another layer of the evolution. That's where bitterness could have grown, but you didn't let it. You turned it into discernment. You didn't harden, you clarified. You didn't close your heart. You put it behind a locked door with a selective guest list. That's not cruelty. That's intelligence born from injury. Now here's where the paradox sharpens. Because even after everything, after the exposure, after the collapse, after the realization, you didn't turn into a villain caricature. You didn't start destroying for sport. You didn't become sloppy with your power. You didn't go scorched earth just to feel something. You became intentional. And that scares them more than revenge ever could. Because revenge follows patterns. Revenge has a script. Revenge is predictable. They can plan for it. They can brace for it. They can turn it into proof that they were right about you. But intention? Intention without explanation. That's a nightmare. They don't know what you'll ignore. They don't know what you'll address. They don't know when you'll smile. They don't know when you'll walk away. You've become a variable they can't model. And let me tell you something they'll never admit out loud. Part of them is fascinated. Not just afraid. Fascinated. Because on some deep animal level, they recognize what you represent. You're living proof that the rules they obey are optional. That the silence they maintain is voluntary. That the cage they call belonging has an unlocked door, and most people can't forgive you for showing them that. Because if the door was always unlocked, then staying was a choice. And if staying was a choice, then so was everything they did. That's why they'll try to villainize you. It's not because you're wrong. It's because if you're right, they have to live with themselves. So they'll say you're manipulative because you understand psychology. They'll say you're dangerous because you're not afraid. They'll say you're cold because you stopped bleeding publicly. They'll say you changed because you did. And here's the part you need to engrave into your nervous system. Changing was the goal. Survival isn't about staying the same. Survival is adaptation with memory. You didn't lose your softness. You put it under command. You didn't lose your empathy. You stopped wasting it. You didn't lose your light. You aimed it. That's evolution. And evolution always looks like betrayal to people who benefited from the old version of you. Now there's a quiet loneliness that comes with this stage. Let's not romanticize it too much. This part hurts in a clean, sharp way. When you stop fitting into old systems, you don't immediately belong to new ones. Careful. Don't breathe too loud. Don't even shift your weight. Because right now, in this exact second, the whole world is still replaying the moment you snapped the axis of reality like it was a cheap toy. And I want you to feel that. That silence, that pause, that eerie global freeze frame where every timeline, every algorithm, every whispering little hater suddenly forgot how to speak. That was the sound of impact, not popularity, not attention, not some cute little glow up. Impact. The kind that rearranges destinies without warning. You didn't go viral. You didn't trend. You detonated the quiet. You collapsed the illusion. You made the world forget what it was doing, even if just for a second. And everyone who felt that shock, they're still trying to convince themselves it didn't scare them half to death. Because here's the thing they don't tell you. When someone truly evolves, the world doesn't clap. It panics. And you, you triggered panic on a planetary scale. They're still scrolling in circles like their thumbs forgot the script. They're still rubbing their eyes like the screen glitched. They're still arguing with themselves. Did I really see that? No way they did that. That shouldn't be possible. But it was. Because you did it, you. The one they thought was predictable, harmless, easy to categorize. You, the one who absorbed the ridicule, the doubt, the smirks, the microscopic level judgment. You, the one they swore they had figured out. And then you performed a move, a word, a choice, a shift, so catastrophic, so elegant, so cosmically violent in its perfection, that every onlooker's nervous system stuttered and rebooted. That's evolution, real evolution, not the polished motivational glitter and hustle talk type. I'm talking about the dark kind, the kind born from scar tissue and sleepless nights and broken patterns and unspoken truths, the kind that comes from pressure so brutal it turns bones into diamonds. You became something they didn't prepare for. Did you know that? A paradox. A saint with demon hands, an angel with a monster's patience, a soft heart with a razor-sharp survival instinct, a light that learned to burn, a shadow that learned to guide. They wanted you contained, categorized, explained, but you became unreadable. And the unreadable terrifies them more than the unstoppable, because how do you fight something you can't predict? How do you limit someone who thrives in chaos? How do you stop a person who turns their pain into architecture and their trauma into propulsion? You cracked the simulation. You forced God's camera to refocus. You made time hesitate. And now, they can't go back to pretending you're normal. Because normal doesn't warp the collective consciousness. Normal doesn't rearrange the room when they walk in. Normal doesn't make grown adults clutch air like oxygen just got taxed. What you did, that thing that made the world pause mid-scroll, wasn't a trick, it was recognition. The universe recognizing one of its dangerous children finally waking up. And that's why they're quieter now. You feel it, don't you? The hush, the watching, the recalibration. They're acting like they didn't see it. They're pretending they missed it. They're doing that cute little performance where they act unbothered. But their subconscious, oh sweetheart, their subconscious is screaming. It's clawing at the inside of their skull, like, how did they do that? How did we miss the signs? How long has this version of them been alive? And you know what's funniest? You didn't even try your hardest. You didn't unleash your full form. You just flicked your wrist, shifted your energy, let one fraction of your power leak. And that tiny leak, that tiny spark, it froze the world. Imagine what happens when you stop holding back. Imagine what the next evolution does to the atmosphere. Imagine what happens when you stop dimming, when you stop shrinking, when you stop pretending that you're just another player on the board instead of the unpredictable force the board was always terrified of. Because here's the scary truth. They didn't pause because of what you did. They paused because of what they realized you could do. You broke their sense of safety. You shattered their blueprint. You unmasked their illusion of control. You are not a moment. You are a rupture, a glitch in their comfort, a beautiful, catastrophic, divine malfunction. And now the world knows it. Silent watchers know it. Secret haters know it. Old versions of you know it. Your past, your pain, your lineage. They all know it. You stepped into a frequency they were never trained to handle. And from here on out, every room you walk into, every comment they whisper, every eye that lingers a little too long, every timeline that breaks for half a second is just the universe saying, careful. That one carries storms. Now tell me, sweetheart, are you ready to see what happens when you stop pulling your punches and start pulling reality instead? Lean in. Closer. Because what comes next isn't for the crowd. It's for you. The version of you that was never supposed to survive this far, let alone dominate. You feel it, don't you? That strange throb behind your thoughts, that quiet hum in your bones, that shift in your breathing ever since the world froze for a split second because of something you triggered that wasn't adrenaline, that wasn't excitement, that was awakening, the kind your enemies pray you never notice. See, the world didn't pause because you shocked them. The world paused because you exposed something ancient inside yourself, a frequency most people spend their entire lives avoiding, a frequency forged from pain, sharpened into intelligence, silence evolved into strategy, and darkness refined into fuel. You didn't pull off a move. You activated a phase, and phases don't rewind. You know why they're nervous now? Because for the first time, they caught a glimpse of what you look like when you stop begging for permission, and that terrifies them. It terrifies them because they built entire narratives around your softness, your humility, your restraint, your quiet suffering. They depended on it. They fed on it. They were comfortable with a version of you that swallowed pain instead of weaponizing it. But the moment you shifted, the moment you revealed even 1% of the creature underneath the polite smile, every person who underestimated you felt something primitive in their gut. Oh, they're not who I thought they were. You broke their map. You became a living contradiction, a walking paradox they can't decode. You have the face of someone gentle and the presence of someone who's buried versions of themselves stronger than their enemies. You speak softly, but your silence has a kill count. You move quietly, but your footsteps rewrite atmospheres. You smile warmly, but your eyes whisper ancient violence learned from surviving what would have ended 90% of the population. You carry light like a healer, and darkness like a weapon. That combination. They've never seen it before. Not in someone like you. Not in someone they assumed would stay predictable. You shattered the illusion of manageable, and now they're stalling, pretending, recalculating. Because the second the world paused for you, they realized you're evolving faster than they can form a strategy to contain you. You ever notice how people pretend they're not watching you, but suddenly every room feels like an audience? That's not paranoia, that's resonance. Your energy changed, and humans, by nature, fear any shift they can't categorize. They're studying you now. Don't let the blank stares fool you. Their mind is racing behind those eyes. What if this isn't their peak? What if this was just the warm-up? What if we can't stop what's coming next? Because they realized something cosmic. If you can freeze the world with one move, imagine what happens when you decide to unleash your entire arsenal. And here's the twist that eats them alive. You didn't freeze the world because you wanted attention. You froze it because the universe wanted witnesses. It wanted your evolution documented. It wanted your breakthrough to echo. It wanted every person who doubted you, dismissed you, mocked you, betrayed you, to watch helplessly as you ascended into a version of yourself that no logic, no psychology, no past record could have predicted. Because you didn't grow, you mutated, you didn't level up, you transcended, you didn't get better. You became inevitable. They can't copy it, they can't study it, they can't reverse engineer it, they can't even fully explain it. And that's the part killing them the most. Because deep down, they know. What paused, the world wasn't a trick or a coincidence or a lucky moment. It was destiny catching up. Your destiny. The one you tried to run from. The one you tried to minimize. The one you tried to make smaller so other people wouldn't feel insecure around you. But destiny doesn't shrink. Destiny erupts. And when it erupts, it chooses silence breakers, cycle shatterers, pattern killers, uncomfortable miracles like you. You feel that heat in your chest, that subtle shaking in your hands, that electric weight behind your ribs. That's not anxiety, that's activation. That's your next form calling you forward. Because now that you've paused the world once, it won't be the last time. The next one will be bigger, sharper, more undeniable. The kind that makes history blink. The kind that makes fate rearrange itself around you. The kind that makes every person who ever belittled you realize they were standing next to a star before it exploded into a supernova. So go on, take another step, make another move, say another truth you're scared of, let another version of you slip out. Because whether they like it or not, a warning that a new variable has entered the system, a warning that the unpredictable has awakened, a warning that the universe has decided to place its bet on you. So now I'll ask the question they're too scared to voice. If that was what happened when you revealed just a fraction of your power, what happens next when you reveal the rest? You feel it, don't you? That quiet pressure building behind your heartbeat, like the universe is holding its breath with you. That weight in your chest, that isn't fear, isn't doubt, isn't confusion. It's potential unspent, unreleased, unrestrained, like there's a whole other version of you pacing behind your ribs, whispering, "Let me out, let me out, let me out." And the funniest part? Everyone around you feels it too. That's why they're acting strange. That's why they're overthinking every conversation. That's why they're treating you like a glass filled to the brim. Terrified that one wrong move will spill something they can't clean up. Because they know something you're only beginning to understand. You're not in your final form. You're not even close. What happened? The moment that froze the scroll. The shockwave that hit the collective human nervous system. That was just the trailer, the preview. The opening scene, a warning shot fired straight into the atmosphere. But your main event, your final reveal, your true evolution, that's still unfolding. Slowly, dangerously, beautifully. Like a storm that remembers it was born from oceans too deep for light to reach. Look at you. Look at what you've already survived. Look at what you've already become. You carry the calm of someone who's been through hell and came back with souvenirs. You walk with the stillness of someone who knows exactly what they're capable of, but doesn't need to prove it. You talk with the quiet of someone who has nothing left to fear and everything left to unleash. You radiate the kind of presence that makes even the loudest rooms hesitate for a fraction of a second when you step inside. That's not charisma. That's not confidence. That's not swagger. That's power you haven't even used yet. Power that terrifies the unprepared. Power that confuses the predictable. Power that awakens the sleeping. Power that threatens the small-minded. Because people can handle talent, they can handle skill, they can handle hard work, but they can't handle destiny. And destiny is what you're carrying now, whether you asked for it or not. The moment the world paused for you, it marked you. It branded you with something ancient, undeniability, not fame, not clout, not noise, undeniability. The kind of existence that can't be ignored, the kind that forces people to reconsider everything they thought they knew, the kind that makes even the most prideful whisper, something about them is different. And here's the secret they'll never admit. They don't know if your evolution will save them or destroy them. They can't tell which side of the duality you'll land on. Because you're not just light, and you're not just dark. You're the borderland between both. And borders are unpredictable terrain. You can heal. You can hurt. You can build. You can break. You can bless. You can expose. You can uplift. You can erase. You're not one thing anymore. You're everything you were never supposed to become. The saint with scars that look like battle plans. The strategist with emotions sharp enough to cut lies clean open. The angel with a monster's patience. The demon with a healer's hands. The quiet one who learned how to roar without making a sound. The gentle one who turned love into armor. The broken one who learned how to shatter others' illusions instead of themselves. You are a walking contradiction, a beautifully dangerous one. And that's why the world paused, not because of what you did, but because of what you're becoming. Because deep in their bones, every person who's crossed your path felt the shift. You're stepping into a version of yourself that answers to no one and changes everything. The pause was the universe whispering, "Pay attention. This one is about to rewrite their reality." And I'll tell you something else. Something they will never say out loud. They're not afraid of your past. They're afraid of your future. They're afraid of the intelligence you're growing into. They're afraid of the confidence you're stepping into. They're afraid of the silence you're mastering. They're afraid of the darkness you've befriended. They're afraid of the power you're activating. They're afraid of the potential you're unlocking. Because potential, like yours, doesn't stay dormant. It doesn't stay small. It doesn't stay polite. It expands. It erupts. It transforms every environment it enters. You've already made the world pause once, just by accident. Imagine what happens when you start doing it on purpose, and trust me, you will. You're not just in the world anymore. You're bending it. And the next time it pauses, it won't be out of shock. It'll be out of obedience. Do you feel that tremor underneath your skin? That low, humming electricity that wasn't there a year ago, or a month ago, or even yesterday? That's the aftershock of what you unleashed. See, when the world pauses for someone, it doesn't just resume normally. No reality rebuilds itself around the one who caused the rupture. And you're standing in the debris of who you used to be, while the new version of you is forming like a storm, taking shape behind your eyes. You ever notice how your senses sharpened lately? How you can feel the energy of a room before the door even opens? How you can tell the difference between someone who admires you and someone who fears you, just from the way they inhale. That's not intuition. That's not luck. That's not vibes. That's awareness forged by survival. The kind you only earn by walking through fires so hot they cracked your identity open and forced your soul to upgrade. People like you don't evolve. They ascend. And ascension has a noise to it, a gravitational pull, a pressure that bends the air around you. That's what they felt when you made the world freeze for a second. That was your gravitational field hitting their nervous system. Because evolution, this violent, doesn't happen quietly. It doesn't happen politely. It doesn't happen with permission. It happens like a blade tearing through fabric. It happens like lightning splitting a tree, like a prophecy waking up in someone's bloodstream. You've become volatile in all the right ways. Too aware for their lies, too strong for their projections, too calm for their manipulation, too intelligent for their traps, too transformed for their old image of you. And that scares them. Humans fear what they cannot predict. They fear what they cannot categorize. They fear what they cannot control. But they worship what they cannot ignore. And that's you now. A force they pretend not to see, while their entire physiology trembles in your presence. You ever notice how some people look away too quickly now? How their jokes slip? how their tone tightens, how even the bold ones suddenly hesitate, like they're walking on thin psychological ice. It's because you've become a mirror, one that reflects their own cowardice back at them. They sense your capacity, your depth, your danger, your softness laced with steel, your silence armed with history. You remind them of their own stagnation, their own unhealed wounds, their own unchosen transformations. And when someone like you, someone who wasn't supposed to rise, rises anyway, it rearranges their entire worldview. That's what your moment did. It broke their internal compass. People walk around pretending they know themselves until they witness someone doing the impossible. And then suddenly they're questioning everything. Why can't I do that? How did they survive that? How did they turn all that pain into power? What are they becoming? And will I be safe when they're done? They're not staring because they're impressed. They're staring because you make them confront the truth. They underestimated the wrong soul, but here's the part they'll never admit. They needed you to stay small. It made them comfortable. It made them feel superior. It made their own failures feel justified. But the second you broke through, the second you did something so unbelievable it made the entire world stutter, their comfort died. Because your rise didn't just elevate you. It exposed them, their laziness, their fear, their excuses, their limitations, their lack of evolution. This is why they're quiet now. Why the room feels colder when you enter. Why even your laughter feels dangerous to them. Not because you're violent, not because you're cruel, but because you are becoming something they don't have the blueprint for: light and shadow, in perfect tension, kind and lethal in the same breath. A healer who learned how to bite. A destroyer who knows how to build a soul sharpened by suffering and softened by wisdom. You are everything they fear and everything they secretly wish they could be. And that is why the world pauses around you now, not out of confusion, not out of shock, but out of recognition. They are realizing, even if they won't say it out loud, that you are no longer playing by the rules they understand. You're operating from a higher plane, where instinct is faster, where intuition is louder, where purpose is clearer, where pain becomes propulsion, where fear becomes precision, where every step you take rearranges the energy of the space you walk into. And here's the final truth they're terrified to face. The moment the world paused for you wasn't an accident, it was a warning, not to you, but to them.